Hello, I'm Michael Henry, and this series of short films highlights some of the qualities that have helped me as a musical director. This is my MD/MO. As far as I know, there's no formal education for becoming a musical director, so it's a case of learning as you go. Along the way, you're going to pick up inevitably some practices and solutions that'll help you in future engagements. So of all the ones that I've picked up so far, here are my top 10 in no particular order.
Number 1. The end could be the place to start.
If a piece has a big climactic end section, that's usually a good place to start, because not only does it get the whole of the ensemble physicalizing and feeling a real vibe for what the piece is going to be like, but also when you start to learn bits that lead into it, you're going to be landing at a familiar destination each time.
Number 2. Have a time estimate ready.
During the rehearsal period, the scheduling is normally done by the assistant stage manager or someone from the stage management team. Now, the most important thing they'll need to know from you is who do you need and how long do you need them for. So always have a time estimate ready to help them with their scheduling.
Number 3. Check in with the composer.
Sometimes an MD is called upon to customize the original music of a composer in order to suit some directorial needs. When this situation arises, I like, wherever possible, to keep in touch with the composer and let them know exactly what I plan to do. If there's a way of preserving the composer's favourite bits as well as giving the director what they need, then that's the route that I'll follow. It's not always possible.
Number 4. Spot potential captains early.
A couple of things to look out for a potential captain are an inquisitive nature in an arrangement outside of their own part, somebody who instinctively helps other people with their parts, and someone who's quick to offer suggestions for interpretation or solutions to an issue. There are certain people who might prove to be excellent, have great potential for vocal captaincy, but don't even know it yet.
Number 5. Contextualize your notes.
Sometimes the musical director job includes visiting the performance once a week to do what are called maintenance notes. I like to contextualize what notes I give them. So for instance, instead of just saying sharp, flat, too loud, too soft, you need to blend more here. So I'll say, while you're traveling past here at that point, so-and-so behind you is singing the same notes as you, lock into them for tuning, because you're not quite together at the moment. Something like that.
Number 6. Signal which take to record.
In order to save the artist having to wade through hours of unnecessary recordings from a rehearsal, I'll always give a heads up to say, this is the one to record. We'll do a clean pass at a bit we've just been rehearsing and then move on to the next section.
Number 7. Accentuate the positive.
Now, I always favour the carrot over the stick approach when it comes to offering feedback or nurturing an artist's contribution. I've witnessed the break them down to build them up approach, and I find it possibly achieves the same objective, but with a lot more blood, sweat and tears along the way. So it's always the carrot for me.
Number 8. Anticipate ensemble size depletion.
So you have to write a big number for the whole cast and you're told that you have all the voices available, let's say 12. Now, do not start by writing a 12-voice arrangement, because I'll tell you what will happen. Along the way, you'll find a couple of characters are driving the narrative, so they're suddenly unavailable to sing. Other people are in between costume changes. They might be there for the beginning of the song, but not for the end of the song. So before you know it, you've got like half the number of voices available. Start by writing a 3 or 4 part arrangement with multiple voices on it, and then you can thicken that up when you know exactly who you've got.
Number 9. Check for cultural consultant.
When working in an unfamiliar culture, I like to know in advance that there's a cultural consultant on board the team. If not, then I usually push for the budget to cover my own visits to someone who can help out in that capacity, as well as being able to bring them in to work with the company at least once or twice. Sometimes there's somebody in the cast who is from the culture in question and is willing to help out in that capacity. If so, then I would normally support them as far as possible in terms of getting them officially recognised by the production company.
Number 10. Don't be afraid to delegate.
Being a sole trader usually works out fine with most productions, but every so often a job comes along that has you inundated with ongoing transcriptions or having to be in 2 places at once. That's why I would say always have a short list of really reliable colleagues who, if they're not available to help you out, they're bound to know somebody who can, and don't be afraid to delegate.
To recap. 1. The end could be the place to start. 2. Have a time estimate ready. 3. Check in with the composer. 4. Spot potential captains early. 5. Contextualize your notes. 6. Signal which take to record. 7. Accentuate the positive. 8. Anticipate ensemble size depletion. 9. Check for cultural consultant. And 10. Don't be afraid to delegate.
So that concludes my top 10 tips. As you can probably tell, it doesn't cover all forms of musical direction, but I do hope there's something in here that you find useful. Please do check out the other films in this series, and thank you very much for watching.